Hi, my name is Nate Johnson, and I used to want control of my future. High school for me was one of the toughest times in my life, especially going from an 8th grader where you're top of the class, top of the school, and then going as a freshman where you're the lowest of the totem pole. Especially with my friends, they always want to be in trouble and always got in trouble. But going to church, we met a guy who was about 23 years old, and his name was Mike Hickerson. And he took us underneath his wings as our small group leader, and he changed our lives forever. As I left high school, I still didn't know what God wanted me to do. So then I started volunteering at my local church where I was a youth sponsor for junior high. And man, I loved being a youth sponsor. I would get on Junior High Believe, I'd go to summer camps, I would help out with worship team, with drama team, and it was awesome being around junior high students. So from there, I knew that God was giving me the passion to help the youth in my area, especially what Mike Hickerson did for me. I wanted to be for them. Back in March of 2007, I began working at a church as a youth minister with one of my best friends, Patrick. About 3 months into us working with each other, he was called to Seattle, Washington as a church planter. So of course, 3 months into my first ministry job ever, I was freaking out and not knowing what God was going to do with me. So like I always do when I'm in trouble, I go back to my old youth minister, Mike Hickerson. And he told me that I should go up and visit him and his church in Chicago, Illinois. So I went up there on a Wednesday night, and while I was there, I ran into one of his best friends, Jeff Henson. As I was at Mike's house, Jeff and I began to talk about our desires and our passions in ministry. And as I was beginning to tell him about my passions, I realized that I really wasn't using that back at the church I was at. So as I was telling my passions and desire, Jeff opened up and told me about the position back in Las Vegas. As he was describing the position, it was describing exactly all the gifts and all the passions that I believe God has been giving me. And I realized that could be me. But the timing was not right. My best friend Patrick just moved to Seattle, and the church that I was at desperately needed me to stay. So I told Jeff I couldn't go, and I hope things went well with him in fulfilling the position. A few months after Jeff and I met, Emily and I began to feel very unsettled where we were at our church. So I wrote Jeff an email describing all the things that Emily and I were dealing with in the church. As I was trying to send it, my internet connection completely went down and I couldn't send it. So I got frustrated even more. So I went to church to go to a meeting, and when I got outside the church, I realized that Jeff had left me a voicemail. So I immediately called Emily and said, Jeff just called and left a voicemail. She's like, well, he responded to your email pretty quickly. I said, no, I never sent him the email. She's like, well, call him back. So I called him back, and we ended up talking for 2 hours about the position, about where Emily and I were at in Kentucky, and what he was looking for in Las Vegas. And he said if I was still interested, then he was still interested in me. And if I was able to come out in January, then I might be the person that he needed. My name is Nate Johnson, and this is my Butterfly Effect.